Hello and welcome to another update video about Ethereum. Well, not too much happened since the last update, just a little bit of volatility, but price didn't really drop much and we're still hovering below resistance, waiting here probably for the volatility around CPI. I guess the market is just waiting now. We're getting squeezed into an apex here like Bitcoin, so it's gonna get interesting here. We still have on the chart the larger inverse head and shoulders, just to mention that. Target would take us to around $1,500. We're just hovering below resistance. You can see the resistance area and how relevant it has been for the last few, well, let's say weeks. Yeah, and eventually we need to break above 1308 to get a breakout done successfully here. We have the idea that, like Bitcoin, Ethereum is in this ABC structure, so it suggests that there should be short-term upside. However, we obviously need to break above 1308 to make that work and need to hold critical support areas. If we drop below these support areas, it will increase the likelihood that this movement to the upside in 5 waves isn't going to happen, and that this impulse, even if it's just an impulsive wave structure in a correction, that this is not going to work out. If we break through resistance, we could take to $1,500, maybe even $1,600. But at the moment, we are just looking here to see if we can break through this resistance, because things are looking interesting, but we need to get that momentum going. Yeah, we need to push through resistance. We've got a very obvious resistance line here, which, to be honest, the more often such a resistance is tested, the more likely it usually is to break, because it gets a very obvious resistance. A lot of people opening shorts there, but when too many people are doing that, then oftentimes those resistances are breaking. Same thing with support levels and trend lines. Yeah, when it's too obvious, it's obviously wrong. So those resistances, when we have here 4, 5, 6 touch points already, they get very obvious. Now, again, it is resistance as long as it's resistance. So nobody has got the crystal ball if we are going to break above it, but we can only trade what's in front of us. We can identify critical support areas. We can identify pivot points and inflection points and trend reversal points and so on. That's what we're doing. And in this short-term upside here that we have, this short-term upside potential, the idea is we created a 1-2 setup, the highest degree here. Then we are now in this third wave to the upside. It will be somewhere up there. Then there should be a fourth and a fifth. We are now in this yellow wave 3. That's where we have to zoom into. So if we do that, we can see it's very similar to Bitcoin actually, if you watch that video. The idea is we created a wave 1 here. The only difference with Bitcoin, I think the wave 1 was here. So we already have a WXY correction here, which is quite complex in this wave 2. Based on that, we are now in a wave 3 in white. And in this wave 3, we have also seen 5 waves up here. So it's the wave 1 of the wave 3, because all of these wave 3s have 5 waves, 5 subwaves. And then here a wave 2 down. Yeah. 1, 2, and we're basically now, the idea is in a wave 3, and within the wave 3 we've got again 5 subwaves. So you can see how those subwaves are structured. However, it would really be good to now deliver, because the longer this takes, the more difficult it gets. And to be honest, we're really getting squeezed here into an apex between this ascending trend line and the descending trend line up there. So I have to move just that trend line a bit. I've got enough touch points. So, but yeah, I don't really like trend lines too much because they are sometimes subjective, but we sort of adhere to it, and we certainly adhere to the resistance line here. And there's 2. There's this one, the larger one, and here a small channel. You could call that a bull flag possibly, but it's getting a bit too long now. So it all comes down to, we need to break above this particular resistance line here and then take us above 1308. That's the target for the bulls. So if we assume we are now in this yellow wave 3, let's look at the subwaves here. We don't have a very clear 5-wave structure, but that is the bullish interpretation. Yeah, so I have to assume this was a 1. So there's 2 ways of looking at this. Yeah, we've got a 1-2, a 1-2, and another 1-2 setup here. No, 1 second. 1, 2, and then within this wave 3, we've got another 1-2 setup due to the strong decline and so on. We push higher. That would be the even more bullish interpretation, but then it starts to get unrealistic because we have too many 1-2 setups. The other interpretation would be that maybe we pushed higher here, had a wave 3, did our wave 4, did our wave 5, yeah. But it was a so-called, well, you could call it double top, truncated wave 5, where we just couldn't push higher. And again, that costs these charts reliability. However, it would indicate that we made here an ABC pattern. That's a very clear 3-wave structure at the moment. As long as we're holding here this low at 1256, we could see this as a wave 1, this as a wave 2, and we could move up in the next stage. Now, the subwave counting is a bit tricky here because of these two possibilities. At the moment, this should be finished. If it's not, I think this is probably not going to hold. But certainly could see this as an ABC pattern here at the moment. And then we would need to move from here. Otherwise, it's probably not going to work. So it's all about still that support area that needs to hold here. Yeah, we touched it again, by the way. This is the support area that needs to hold below 1236. It's probably not going to work out. And we need to break above this swing high first. This would probably be the first indication that the move down here has finished. And we might then be in a wave 3 of 3. Target here for this wave 3 was around 1370. And yeah, we need to break above this resistance line, you know, while holding the 1236 level. As I mentioned also in the Bitcoin video and in the last Ethereum video, if that level doesn't hold, there's a fallback scenario where we could say that this wave 2, which supposedly finished on the 7th of December, was never finished, so we can give it another chance to rally from here. So that basically all these 1-2 setups that happened up here, 1-2 and 1-2, they get invalidated if we drop, well, they will most likely get invalidated if we drop below 1236. They will be invalidated if we drop below 1221. And then we have this fallback scenario and could say that this entire move off the high of the 30th of November is a very, very complex corrective pattern, which may find support again in the green box. We thought it's finished already here. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it will be finished again in the larger green area at a later stage. But then if we really fall into the, or go below 1186, this is also not going to work out, and we will probably break down from here, and this whole, you know, short-term bullish idea is probably not going to work out. So it will be interesting. Have your stop losses set if you're trading this. I can only recommend that. But there will be a lot of volatility today, so do expect that a lot of stop losses will be kicked out, and then maybe the market just rushes into the other direction. It's typically not the best days for trading, these ones, yeah, because there's a lot of market makers, playing around and bot trading and so on, algorithms. So be careful, but eventually you should be aware now of those key levels and the probabilities, likelihoods. In my opinion, I'm still looking for the upside as long as the yellow support box holds, and then the fallback scenario would be the green support box. But if that loses as well, then we're probably gonna come down and maybe even retest the $1,000 level. Okay, and that's my update about Ethereum. I hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.